Ladies and gentlemen, Cowboys Nation, can you believe it? Here we are in the heart of the 2025 NFL season, and the Dallas the Dallas Cowboys are shaking things up off the field just when we need that fire on it. Imagine this, a 7th-round gem who lit up your heart with every catch, suddenly cut loose like a bad habit.
That's the story of Jaylen Brooks, folks, and it's got me fired up to talk about it. Stick with me as we unpack this bombshell release, dive deep into the ghosts of drafts past, and wonder aloud if America's team is ready to rewrite its scouting fairy tale. Welcome to your Cowboys fix. Let's roll. First off, the news that's hitting harder than a Micah Parsons blindside. The Dallas Cowboys have parted ways with wide receiver Jaylen Brooks. Yeah, that Jaylen Brooks, the 6'2", 205-pound South Carolina product who burst onto the scene in 2023 like a Texas thunderstorm. Remember his rookie year? The kid snagged all 6 passes thrown his way, turning heads and earning that instant fan-favorite status. We all saw it, that wide catch radius, those sure hands that made you think, this guy's got that old-school Emmitt Smith grit in a receiver's body. Year 2, he built on it. 12 catches, 177 yards, and a touchdown that had AT&T Stadium shaking like it did back in the 90s dynasty days. But this season, pushed down the depth chart behind the likes of CeeDee Lamb and Jalen Tolbert, he suited up for just one game, no targets, no catches. And now, with a nagging knee injury sidelining him, the Cowboys reached an injury settlement and released him on Friday. 22 games, 36 receptions, 261 yards, 1 score, that's his legacy in silver and blue. It's heartbreaking, isn't it? Brooks embodied that underdog spirit we love in Dallas, the kind that echoes Roger Staubach's Hail Mary magic. But hold on, because this isn't just about one guy. This release is the final nail in the coffin for what might be the most brutal draft class in recent Cowboys history, the 2023 haul. Dallas has built empires through the draft, folks. Think about it. From the doomsday defense of the 70s to the triplets era with Aikman, Smith, and Irvin, or even nabbing Ezekiel Elliott in 2016 to supercharge that run game. The Cowboys scouting department is legendary, turning late-round steals into Hall of Famers. Hell, they've got more Pro Bowlers homegrown than most teams have roster spots. But 2023? It's like they drew the short straw at the Michigan factory sale. Kicking things off in round 1, they grabbed nose tackle Motzie Smith, a Wolverines beast we thought would plug that defensive line like a cork in a bottle. Instead, struggles City. Just 2 tackles in 4 games this year, and he's been a healthy scratch 3 times already. Coach McCarthy's got to be pulling his hair out. Smith was supposed to be the anchor against those NFC East bruisers like the Eagles' Jalen Hurts scrambling for days. We're talking a guy who couldn't crack the rotation in a scheme built for run stoppers. Ouch. Then round 2, tight end Luke Schoonmaker, another Mays and Blue Alum. Look, he flashed some promise, stepped up big in 2024 when Jake Ferguson went down, hauling in key grabs during that wild playoff push we almost had. Remember that stretch? 5 catches in a game against the Giants, looking like the next Jason Witten with those blocking chops. But fast forward to 2025, 5 receptions, 24 yards, and he's a ghost in the offense. With Ferguson healthy and owning the red zone, Schoonmaker's just there. Not cutting it for a team that prides itself on multi-tool tight ends who can block like walls and catch like Witten in his prime. And now, the lone beacon of hope, linebacker DeMarvion Overshown. This guy's got superstar written all over him, speed off the edge like a young DeMarcus Ware, instincts that scream future defensive player of the year. But injuries, man, they've dogged him like a bad ex. Only 13 games under his belt since draft day, and we're left dreaming of what could have been if he stayed healthy. He's the one bright spot, forcing fumbles and covering kicks like a Swiss Army knife. If Overshown explodes in the back half of this season, maybe, just maybe, he salvages this class. The Grim Reapers already claimed the rest. Edge rusher Viliami Fehoko, who we hoped would terrorize QBs but vanished into special teams obscurity. Tackle Asim Richards, a swing guy who never swung big enough. Corner Eric Scott, waived after training camp flashes. And that electric little scatback Deuce Vaughn, whose 5'6" frame promised gadget magic but delivered more fumbles than fantasy points. 5 cuts from a 7-pick class? That's not a draft. That's a cautionary tale. Compared to 2022's gems like Darren Bland locking down receivers or Sam Williams adding pass rush pop, 2023 feels like a swing and a miss. Statistically, this group's combined under 300 snaps this season, while the 22 class is logging starters' minutes and Pro Bowl nods. It's a stark reminder, even the best front offices, like ours, built on Tex Schramm's vision, hit rough patches. And in the cutthroat NFC East, where the Eagles are loading up with Saquon Barkley and the Giants are, well, being the Giants, we can't afford these whiffs. Let's bring in a fictional fireside chat here, because I couldn't resist. Imagine I'm cornering Overshone after practice. Demavian, brother, you're carrying the torch for 23, pressure's on. What's it feel like? He'd flash that grin and say, man, it's fuel. I've been sidelined too long. Now it's time to show why Jerry Jones took a chance. We're building something special. Watch me sack Hurts twice next week. Or picture Mike McCarthy in the huddle, post-release. Look, drafts are marathons, not sprints. We've got Dak slinging it to CD like Prime Romo to Owens, Parsons wrecking backfields. This roster's still elite. Brooks. Class act, but we adapt. That's Dallas. And from a die-hard fan at the Star? It's tough, but hey, we've survived worse, like that 11-5 heartbreak to the Cards in '08. Cowboys Nation rebounds. We're America's team for a reason. So, what does this mean moving forward? Short term, depth at receiver thins out, putting more on Lamb's shoulders. Expect 100-yard games or bust. For the draft class, it's a reset button. Overshone could be the spark for a wild card push. Pair him with Parsons, and that D-line roars back to top 5 status. But long term, this stings for playoff hopes. We're 5-3 right now, clinging to that NFC East lead, but another miss like this, and we're talking mid-round picks in 26 instead of contending. Prediction time. Overshone hits 80 tackles, Schoonmaker carves a niche as a third down specialist, and the Cowboys pivot to free agency for a vet WR. Maybe a Hollywood Brown reunion? Nah, too wild. But mark my words, by Super Bowl Sunday, this brutal class becomes a footnote in another Lombardi chase. We've got the history, the 3 rings, the star on the helmet that shines brighter than the Vegas lights. Folks, that's the pulse of Cowboys football. Highs, lows, and never say die hard. If you're not fired up yet, grab your silver helmet and tune in Sunday when we host those smug Eagles. Dak's got revenge on his mind after last year's gut punch. Follow along on the channel for live breakdowns. And remember, in Dallas, we don't rebuild, we reload. This is your anchor signing off. Go Stars? Wait, Cowboys. Ha, talk soon. How's that for a ride?